would like to make a manifestation insofar as the refusal of the Vice President to take her oath insofar as the hearing of this committee is concerned. Such refusal can damage the public's perception of integrity in public office. The Filipino people deserve honesty and openness from their leaders, especially when their actions are being scrutinized. The House inquiry is in aid of legislation to serve the public interest. Dodging the oath gives the impression that the Vice President may not want the full truth to come out. No one is above the law or beyond the reach of truth. We humbly urge the Vice President to reconsider her position and take her oath, as this inquiry is meant to benefit the people we serve. Transparency should never be optional for public officials. We all owe it to the Filipino people to tell the truth under oath if it is necessary. Now, my second manifestation, Mr. Chair, would pertain to the issue of tradition as raised by the Honorable Marcoleta. And this is not my personal manifestation, but a manifestation of a group of Filipino citizens. And I would like to quote from their Viber. The Constitution of the Philippines, specifically Article 11, Section 1, explicitly states that public office is a public trust. At all times, public officers and employees must be accountable to the people, serve them with the utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency. The primary responsibility of legislators is to the people and the nation, as this provision emphasizes. It is not to maintain outdated traditions that may obstruct necessary scrutiny and transparency in government operations. Although some may contend that these courtesies are extended to high-ranking officials, it is crucial to recognize that taxpayer funds are the source of funding for all public offices, including the office of the Vice President. Consequently, it is imperative that each centavo allotted to it undergoes the same rigorous assessment as any other department or office. Legislators are failing to fulfill their obligation to ensure that public funds are allocated responsibly and prudently by prematurely concluding budget discussions. The power of the purse is vested in Congress by Article 6, Section 24 of the Constitution. This authority requires the scrutiny of the national budget to ensure that it is in accordance with the requirements of the populace and that government programs and projects are appropriately funded and managed. Budget deliberations are not merely formalities. They are critical processes that enable legislators to evaluate and challenge the allocation of public funds. The constitutional mandate is directly violated by the use of tradition as an excuse to conclude these discussions. This is particularly true when the OVP's budget incorporates confidential funds, which necessitate even more rigorous scrutiny due to their nature. The people deserve transparency. It is time, I think, to discontinue a harmful practice. Not the deliberations themselves, but this long-honored tradition of circumventing critical budget evaluations should be terminated. Upholding such a practice, particularly when it directly affects the management of public funds, is a violation of the public interest mandate of legislators. We are at risk of fostering corruption and mismanagement by allowing tradition to supplant accountability. We have the right to demand that our representatives in Congress carry out their obligation to scrutinize the budget without exception as Filipinos. The OVP, or Office of the Vice President, like any other office that receives public funding, is subject to the same accountability standards. In order to guarantee that confidential funds are utilized for legitimate purposes that advance the public interest, they necessitate meticulous supervision. The first is a critical mechanism for preventing government overreach and the misappropriation of funds. Congress can guarantee that our government remains accountable to the people it serves by fulfilling this constitutional obligation. The public and our legislators are responsible for rejecting this detrimental tradition in favor of transparency and good governance. The integrity of our democratic processes and the restoration of trust in our institutions can only be achieved by doing so. Marami pong salamat, Mr. Chairman.